Hey everybody, welcome to episode 157 of the Fiberista Files. Today is Monday, August 4th, 2014. I'm your host, Heather, also known as Boutros Babe on Ravelry and Plurk and Fiberista Files on Twitter and Instagram. The shop, if you're not familiar with it, is shop.highlyhandmaids.com, and we're happy to have you along today. I say we, the dog's right there beside me. Okay, I haven't recorded since the middle of July. It's been a while. It's been 3 weeks or so, and lots has happened. Weekend review is going to be a little bit wordy, but man, I came back from Minnesota, and like my creativity as far as doing different stuff with my shop has been pretty much through the roof. I've got a bunch of new stuff to show you in dye pots and club and knitting, so let's get started. I do want to apologize in advance for my crazy weird hair. I have these weird pieces that just stick out when it's humid, and there's nothing I can do about them. They just live to make my life miserable. So we're just going to have that little piece stick up, and you can stare at it. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to start with weekend review because there's a special person I want to say hello to before I get into all of the knitting stuff. So many of you know that I run. Running is one of my favorite activities. I don't want to call it an exercise because I don't know that I do enough to really gain any health benefits from it, but I enjoy the challenge and I enjoy being able to get outside, and running is, like I said, one of my favorite things to do. So to help motivate me and keep me motivated running, I have joined a couple of groups and follow several pages on Facebook. Some of them are runners themselves, like Runner Unleashed, who is a lady who runs, and she has scoliosis. She's very inspiring. Run Nerds Rock is a guy who's been running for almost 1,000 days in a row. People like that. But I also have joined two groups that sort of put a bigger purpose behind the reasons that people run, and I'm definitely one of them. So the two groups are called I Run for Michael and I Run for Siblings. I Run for Michael, their actual website is irun4, I-R-U-N, the number 4.com. And it's a group that pairs runners with children and adults who have chronic illness or disease or a developmental disorder or delay. These runners and buddies, they're called, are matched up, and the runners run in their buddy's honor. And often when they do races, they'll put, I run for Phoenix or whatever on their arm, and they will send race bling to their buddies who are often in and out of the hospital or have, chronic health issues that prevent them from really being able to be active. And the whole group is very positive and uplifting. And if you are a runner at all, I encourage you to join the group. It is a closed group, so what I like about that is that the posts that I put in there aren't shared to the rest of my Facebook feed. So it's not like you're unintentionally outing people's illnesses or whatever. So the problem with I Run For is that there are a lot of runners waiting for buddies. The last time I checked, my place in the wait list was 1,897, which means basically I'm probably not going to get matched until October or so. Like, it just is going to be a long time. Then I heard about the other group, I Run For Siblings, and I Run For Siblings is the same parent umbrella that I Run For Michael is, but it's for the brothers and sisters of kids with chronic illness. Too often, the siblings have to deal with the consequences of their brothers and sisters' illnesses without them actually being sick. So I Run For Siblings is a way to match runners with people, with the brothers and sisters of these kids, so that they have somebody who runs for them and is invested in them as well. I joined the group on July 31st and was matched August 1st, so it was a really quick turnaround. I think they've actually got more siblings than they do have runners right now. So I was overjoyed to learn that my buddy's name is Emily. She is 6. She is going to start the first grade, and she lives in Missouri. So hi, Emily. I just wanted to say hi before I get on with all the boring knitting stuff. I have already done one run for Emily. I ran for her on Saturday, and then Sunday I haven't spoken with her yet since yesterday. I just walked a little bit with my husband, but I have a run today planned, and come rain or wind or humidity, I will be on that run today just for Emily. So hi, Em. All right. Other than that, weeks in review, I'm going to move on. Also, I should say, if you guys have any questions about either of those groups, you can PM me and I will send you the links. So, okay. The other thing that happened, and I'm sure if you follow me, you heard all about it. My best friend Katie got married on July 19th. And I think last time I recorded was a few days before I left, or the day before I left. Paul and I made it to Missouri, not Missouri, haha, that's where Emily lives, to Minnesota, sorry, where Katie's family is from, where Katie is from, Minnesota, the Thursday before the wedding with no problems. We were there by about noon. It was about a 2-hour drive to where the wedding was going to be, but that was easy and fast, and Katie's honey picked us up and he came with us. We took a van and we headed out. The mansion that we stayed in was wonderful, very soundproof, like you didn't hear people walking around and stuff, and really well constructed. That was really nice. The grounds were beautiful and lovely, and everything was in bloom, and it was pristine, and it was right on the banks of the river. I don't know if it was the Mississippi River. I can't remember now. You'd have to ask Katie. It was an amazing weekend. Katie was beautiful, as you can expect. I will include some pictures here at the end. We took a lot of pictures that day just because Katie had a photographer for before the ceremony, at the ceremony, in maybe the very beginning of the reception. I can't remember. But as the reception went on, Katie had asked myself and another of her bridesmaids to sort of take pictures to remember the event because she was going to be too busy, and I was like, that's fine. I would have taken pictures anyway. We got some really great pictures. In fact, over the whole weekend, we got some really great pictures. So I will definitely share some of those with you at the end. The wedding went very well. We had beautiful weather. It was a hot day. It was a little muggy, but other than that, it was perfect. Katie and Jeremy said their vows, and there were some tears and a whole bunch of laughter, and it was really great. And then we got to the reception, and Katie's family's crazy. Katie's family, in the best possible way. She has, I want to say 3 brothers. She has 2 twin brothers who are younger than her, and then a stepbrother. And they are hilarious. She also has a sister who is a little bit younger than her as well. Katie's the oldest. But I've never met a family of photo bombers like Katie's family. Even her mom does it. Like, I would try to take a picture, and it'd be 2 people smiling, and somebody in the background going, "Aah!" Like, every one of them did it. It was crazy. I could not take a photo without somebody photobombing. It was just really funny. Like, they just were a great group of people who love to have fun, and, you know, they're just like Katie is. They're an emotional family. They're a bunch of criers, which is fine. I am not a crier, so I was kind of getting a kick out of that. Katie cried a bunch. Jeremy cried a bunch. Everybody cried. It was kind of funny. I had a good time. I did not cry. I did laugh a little bit. So the one horrible thing, and I mean horrible thing, of this weekend, Katie and Jeremy didn't spring it on us until the rehearsal that we were each going to be having a live dove in our hands at one point during the ceremony. Okay, now I get that this is a big romantic thing and you release the doves and whatever. No. Do you have any idea the terror that went through the bridal party? The knowledge that we were going to have to hold live birds in our hands during the ceremony? I have no words. Like, you should have seen our faces when they told us that, because I was like, no, no. And they were like, oh, yeah, you are. And I was like, okay. So we get partway through the ceremony, and the ceremony wasn't long. It was maybe 10, 15 minutes if you included the procession. But I could hear the doves cooing, and I couldn't see them based on where we were in the grounds. But both myself and Katie's cousin, who was right in front of me, Heidi, were like looking around, like side-eyed, like, where's the doves? We can hear them. We can hear them cooing. Their little evil coos. So anyway, I held my little dove, like the guy shoved it at me, and I grabbed it, and it was like, they were like, you've got to hold it just right within the neck, and like its feet will kind of kick at you, don't drop it. And I was like, oh my God, like holding it as far away from my body as I can so that the thing does not crap on me. It did crap on one of the bridesmaids, not mine, but one of the bridesmaids' doves did crap on her. Anyway, so we let it go and it was not a big deal, but I was a little perturbed at Katie for a little while on that one because they totally did not tell us that was happening on purpose. I know they left that on purpose because they didn't want to hear about it, I'm sure. But whatever, it was a romantic ceremony and lovely. With live birds. So that was awesome. The trip back was a bit of a slog. We didn't leave the mansion until noon on Sunday. And between the plane being delayed an hour, leaving Minnesota, landing in Boston and having a 2-hour drive to Katie and Jeremy's, and then from Katie and Jeremy's, we had to drive an hour and a half to my parents' house to pick up the dog, and then we had a 2-hour drive north after that to get home. Like, it just... We didn't arrive on the ground in Boston until after 9 p.m. So you figure with stops and potty breaks and everything else, we didn't get to Katie and Jeremy's until after midnight. So it was 2 o'clock before we got to my parents' house. And both Paul and I were dead. Like, we were just so exhausted. We couldn't sleep on the plane. We couldn't sleep on the shuttle. We just couldn't sleep. And we decided to stay at my parents'. So Sunday night when we got back, I guess it was Monday morning, we got into my grandmother's house where my dog was, and he was very excited to see us, and we immediately went to bed. Like, we were just like, we will get home tomorrow. Like, my husband called out of work and said, listen, our flight's been delayed. We're not going to be able, like, he was supposed to be at work at 7 a.m. That did not happen. So, anyway, we got up the next morning, drove the rest of the way home, and we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. So, I'm very grateful to Katie and Jeremy for all that they did for us. It was their wedding, and they didn't have to be anywhere near as accommodating as they were, but they were over-the-top wonderful hosts. We went tubing one day, Friday. There's this place where you get inner tubes, which if you've never seen is like the inside ring of a truck tire. Not the bit with the treads, but the bit that actually inflates. And you take this big, huge inner tube, and they drive you up the road, and they drop you off, and you float down the river back to where the place where you got the tubes is. And that was pretty cool. It took us about an hour, and I think they said an hour and 15 minutes, but it's usually a 3-hour float. The water was fast. I guess they had a lot of rain this spring, so it was quite a bit faster than they had said it would be, but we had a blast. Oh my God, it was so much fun. I totally want to do that again. Yeah, so that was the wedding. Like I said, I'll put pictures in at the end. I shared a ton of photos on Instagram. Fiberista Files is my name there, so go ahead and check that out. Some of these pictures will probably be repeats of those. So, okay. Other than that, my husband and I are in the process of searching for a piece of land on the coast. This has been something that we've wanted to do a really long time, but it's never seemed like exactly the right moment. Now, unfortunately, we live right in town in Brownville, and that means that we have neighbors. And when the drug dealers moved in across the street, we really thought it was going to be horrible. And they've actually turned out to be decent neighbors. There's a lot of coming and going, but they don't party. They're not loud. I can tolerate them. They're fine. The house next to theirs previously was vacant because the people who had purchased the house, according to town rumor, they never made a payment and it was foreclosed on. It was obvious that it had been foreclosed upon and they were out. They were the worst neighbors we've had in the entire history of our lives. Like, we have never had neighbors as bad as these people. They screamed and fought. They were domestic all the time, domestic calls. They had been arrested more than once. They had kicked windows out and put each other up against the walls, dragged each other around the ground, smoked a lot of weed in their garage. Really just bottom of the barrel people. And we try really hard not to judge people, but it got to the point that I didn't want to go outside because I did not want to listen to their ugliness. Well, somehow, by some miracle, they got their house back. And I would really like to know how that happened because that's just wrong. I'm sorry, but we were so pleased when they lost their house. I know Karma's probably going to kick me for that, but they were horrible. And the girl started moving back in while her husband was still in jail after his third OUI. So now that they're both there, he has no license. I don't think he works. He's there all day, and they've already been back to, they themselves have not been screaming, but their children have been. They apparently have a loud dog that's been barking quite a bit and slamming doors and all wonderful stuff. the moment we found out that they were moving back in, my husband was online looking at real estate on the coast. He's like, I cannot, no. He's like, no, we're done. It's time to go. Okay, I'm ready to go. I was ready to go 2 years ago. I was ready to go 6 years ago. Let's go. So we've been to the coast a bunch lately looking at properties. We've got a couple of options as to what we're going to do, and we're just looking for just the right place for me to not only have our house, but also for me to have a separate studio that may potentially have some, I don't know about retail space, but public space where people can come in and spin and hang out and maybe take classes, and I just think that would be awesome. So think good thoughts for us if you could, please, because we really need to get out of town. Really need to get out of town. Okay. 16 minutes in, it is now time for me to talk about what you guys are here for, which is the knitting and the spinning and the business and the yarn and the fiber and all that good stuff. So let's begin, shall we? I have a mountain of stuff, so please forgive any rustling that you may hear. I have been knitting. Oh yes. All the time on the coast means all the time in the car, which means knitting. I do not know if I showed these to you last time or not. I think I showed you the yarn because I think I cast it on while I was flying to Minnesota. So, you have not seen these, if that is correct. These are socks that are made from yarn from Kiki, who is Yarn vs. Zombies. She's out of Australia. She has amazing, amazing stuff. I knit my Monster Movie Night socks with her yarn. This is the ball, which turns out this is a center pull ball. I'm astounded that she made a center pull ball like this. You can see there's the yarn coming out of the middle. This colorway is called Colorophobia. It is a fear of clowns. It's not going to focus because I have the autofocus turned off. But it is a variegated, sort of dulled out rainbow followed by a section of charcoal gray. And you can see that in the finished sock that it stripes with a variegated and a gray. I think you can see too that I have a slip stitch detail here. I can't even turn the autofocus on because I can't reach the mouse. Maybe I can, hang on. Here we go. So here is the sock, and it has a very simple slipped stitch detail. Come on, focus. Yeah, there you go. And I had a bunch of people asking me how I did it. And, you know, what's the pattern? What's the pattern? Y'all do not need a pattern all the time. Just saying. I will happily write this up for you guys, but I have made notes on my Ravelry project page, and you can easily just gank it from there. The first sock is finished. I did these toe up, and you can see here is the toe of my second one. The slip stitch pattern is super easy. You slip the stitches as if to purl. So I knit on this sock, because it was toe up. So I went this way. So I knit to the last several stitches, slipped one, knit two, slipped one, knit two, slipped one, and then knit three. That was to the end of the needle. So my stitches are 3 stitches in from the side of the sock. Now I slipped those stitches for 2 rounds, and on the third round I knit them. That's it. They're just slipped for 2 rows and knit the third row. Very easy. Like I said, I may write that up, but if I write that up, it's going to be free pattern because there's no point in you guys paying me for that. That's ridiculous. That's the second sock. I love Kiki's yarn. I'm a total sucker for it. I'm in her club because I love her stuff so much. You should definitely shop with her if you haven't already. Now, the second thing I've been working on, I also started on the trip to Minnesota. I am working on the Susan Claudino design of the Wild Thing, which is a monster. That's the monster that I did the yarn for the club, which had the kit out of Annie Light Knits. And I will be drawing for the winner of the kit today, so do not let me forget to do that. So I have 2 feet, 2 hands, and an ear. Sorry for all the bits hanging, but I've got to weave them in once they're attached. I'm knitting this out of some hand-spun Icelandic wool that I did a single out of. You can see the yarn there. It's kind of uneven, and it's very hairy because of the dual fleece nature of Icelandic sheep. And then the green here is the leftovers from the Wayward Hat, which is the green ash worsted of mine in the South Brother? I can't remember if it's South Brother or North Brother. I think it's the South Brother colorway. And those are hanging out in the Wild Rumpus bag. I'm using my US 5 signatures for the actual knitting and the needle that I was just storing them on as a Knitter's Pride, size 2 carbon. This is the Wild Rumpus at Sunset knitting bag. This is one of the things that you enter to win. You will win, if you win the kit, you will win this, notions, the eyes, buttons, and thread that all go on the monster, Highland Handmaids, the blue for the monster, the either the striped pajama or the silver pajama colorway, and some stitch markers as well. So it's a wicked awesome kit, and you may win that. So stick around. That's going to be at the end. Yep. All right. The last thing I've been working on is our cow. Cow is a knit along, and the knit along is for the Endless Rainbow pattern by Martina Bem. And it is knit out of, well, she knit out of Olmaz, I think. But mine, our cow, you knit it out whatever you want. I'm knitting it out of Highland Handmaids. So is Fruit. Ours are identical. We're twins. I'm going to count them on air. I know I tell you every week that you guys hate when I do this, and I do it every week because I don't ever think ahead to do it. So I'm at 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 29. I have done 29 triangles, and I am finishing up connecting the 29th triangle to the undyed. So you can see it fairly well there. I love this thing. My goal has been so far to do 33 triangles because this is my 33rd year. I did do 30 striped socks for my birthday when I turned 30, and I may do 33 triangles. I still have a crap ton of yarn. Look how much yarn I have. This is in my Princess Bride bag from Stitch by Jessa Lou. I have a lot of yarn. But, you know, I may keep that yarn, and I may do some socks, some colorwork socks, or maybe a colorwork sock head hat. I'm not sure, but there's plenty of other things I can use that for. 32 triangles, I think, is what Martina Bem's pattern calls for, and like I said, I might just do 33. So, I forgot to tell you, my socks are hanging out in a bag made, I can't remember her shop name. 3 Owls Farm? No. Shoot. It's made for me by a friend, and I love it. I can't remember the name of her shop. Or she even had a shop. No, she did, because I bought it. I can't remember. But it's beautiful. It's all owls, and it's got letters on the inside. We hung out quite a bit at GGPL. She and I. Okay. That's what I've been knitting. Spinning has been a little bit less productive. I have been spinning my first ever bat, which is a blend of purples. This is the first purple. This is the second. This is like 2 ounces, not even quite. So you can see how fluffy it is. I am going to spin the other 2 ounces on another bobbin and then ply them together so that it will be complete barber pole the whole way through. That's the plan. I finished, and I don't remember if I told you this or not, I finished the His and Hers yarn from me, from Highland Handmaids. It is alpaca merino silk in the His and Hers colorway. I deliberately divided the fiber so that this would barber pole, and pretty much the whole thing barber poles. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's almost completely barber pole. It came to 286 yards, which is about a DK. That's probably about right. It's a very relaxed 2-ply. It's not super twisty. Alpaca likes to drape, and I was allowing it to sort of do what it would naturally do. So I didn't want to put too much twist in it and make it contrary to its personality. That will be for sale in my Highland Handmaids shop shortly. I just have to list it. Okay, next up is dye pots, and I have been busy, and it's been great. The first thing I'm going to show you is the July snapshots for Maine Yarn Club. If you have not received yours and you do not want to be spoiled, this is your spoiler warning. You're going to have to fast forward probably 15 seconds or so. I'll be quick. Okay, are you gone? Good. This is Perigee. It is a buttery yellow, charcoal gray, pinky purple, purpley purple, blue, and a dark bluey gray. And there's an additional mini skein that is a dark green with some light areas. It is The location this week was my aunt's farm, my aunt and uncle's farm in Edmonds, which is right on the tippy easternmost edge of Maine. It is my most favorite place in the entire state, possibly in the entire world. I wrote a lot about how wonderful the place feels. It's got a really great rhythm of life. My uncle's family has had the farm since, or the property, since the land was granted to his family by King George III. I'm not even kidding you. They've had that land since before we were a country. Like, King George said, okay, you can have this land because it was King George's to give away. Seriously. Like, this is not a joke. This is fact. There are 9 generations, 8th and 9th generations on the farm right now. And it's pretty amazing. It's an amazing place. So that was that. I'm very pleased with this colorway. I know I probably say that every month, but this month everything came together. There's a mini skein because I couldn't get that shade to work with the other ones. And so I didn't want to leave it out because I feel like that green was important, but I couldn't get it to work well in there. So I put it as a separate. People can use it for toes or socks or brims or whatever they want. Okay. But when I came back from Katie and Jeremy's wedding, I was just fired up with creativity. I don't know why. I just was. Okay. So I got back to bat making, and the first two I made up are already gone. But this is one that's going in the shop soon. It is Blues. It is called Down Where It's Wetter. It is a blend of Polworth Merino, Masham, Superwash BFL, Firestar Angelina, and Cashmere. It's 97 grams. And it's bright blue, navy blue. There's some sparkle in it. Not a lot of sparkle, but there is some blue sparkle, wisteria sparkle, silver holographic sparkle. It's awesome. This is 97 grams. So this is what basically a 4-ounce bat looks like. I don't layer my bats. I do all 100 grams in one giant bat. I have a giant carder. Specifically, I bought for that purpose. The other one is the opposite in the color spectrum. This is called Autumn Leaves. And this is just Superwash Merino with no glitter or sparkle. It starts in brown, goes to this deep burgundy, and then a little bit more of a brighter red, a burnt orange, and then ends in a gold, bright gold. So this is 102 grams of Superwash Merino. They're huge. They're as big as my head. Look at that. I have a huge head. So those are both going to go in the shop tomorrow maybe. I'll give you guys a little bit of time to see this. Okay, and then I purchased a new base yarn, and this is probably not going to be a regularly stocked item, but it will be sort of, I'll do a batch and see how they do, and then I may or may not do them again. It's a little bit of a pricier base. It's a lot pricier of a base, but it's gorgeous, and I think you'll agree that it's worth it. So this is a new fingering weight yarn. I'm going to put the autofocus on so it might potentially focus for you. This is a blend of merino, yak, and silk. Do you see how it's this beautiful heathery gray? I'm going to tell you a little bit about the yarn. Sorry, I have to click away for a second. It is 60% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 20% silk. It's a 3-ply, and it's about 400 yards per skein. So it is pretty awesome. I think you'll agree. It is a light fingering weight. Let me see if I can't show you kind of how thick it is. It's not the thickest fingering weight yarn you'll ever have, but it's lovely. And because of the gray nature, it overdyes in some really beautiful colors. So this is a very lightly dyed pink. A lot of the natural gray is still coming through. You can see that, I think. Then I did this beautiful pumpkin spicy orange. Again, the gray gives it like a heathered effect. A new middle of the road green makes it very rich. And the silk in there really gives it quite a bit of sheen that you can't probably see. There's quite a bit of shine to it. This rich blue. I know, right? Oh, it's almost TARDIS blue. Might be a shade darker than TARDIS blue. And this one, which I might keep for myself, is this beautiful Bordeaux wine color. Isn't that stunning? This stuff takes color like nobody's business. I have done all semi-solids because I don't think people will be using these for socks where you can kind of get away with crazy variegation. I think a lot of people will be using this for shawlettes, which are best probably left a little more subtle. So here they are all together, and that first one I showed you is undyed, so that's its natural gray color. So here's the color so far. I do have more. I ran out of vinegar the day I was dyeing these, so I had to stop, but they're gorgeous, and these will be in the shop. I haven't priced them yet. I have a formula for how I price things, and anytime I price anything over $20, I really have a fit because I feel like that's too much money. Even if that's what it costs me, like I struggle. So I look for ways to lower the cost as much as I can, and that's one of the other reasons to make it semi-solid instead of variegated, because it costs less because there's less dye. So that will be in the shop again in the next day or so. But then I was talking during the trip and after the trip with my friend Melissa. You know her as Amelia Bella from the His and Hers podcast and Keegan Lane Yarns, as well as all around awesome person. Well, for SSK Market, she was doing a bunch of, I don't know if she called them poonies or rolags. They're the big thing, the tuber worm looking things that have been vastly popular lately. And I was talking to her. In fact, I asked her to send me one. I said, I don't care what colors. I don't care when, but can I please buy a set from you because they're awesome and you do amazing work? And she said, sure, absolutely. So I've got some rolags coming to me from Melissa at some point. But I told her, I said, I've been thinking about getting a blending board. I kind of feel like that's what's popular right now, and I kind of feel like that should be something that I offer. I do the bats, obviously, but I haven't done any poonies or rolags or whatever you want to call them. And she said, what, Heather, you really should. It's a lot of fun, and they're pretty awesome. And I was like, okay. So I messaged my friend Lori. Now, Lori owns Hopewood Crafts. Her tagline is Made in Maine, the way crafts should be. Kind of like the play on Maine, the way life should be. And Lori and her husband Jerry do rug hooking frames and blending board frames and a bunch of other stuff. And I want to show you the blending board that I bought from Lori. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it and how awesome it is and all of that. If you do not have any interest in blending fiber, you may want to pass this for just a few minutes. So this is the board. It's this big. It has carding cloth on it. I didn't ask her how many teeth per inch, but 72 teeth per inch is pretty much standard. And it's a nice hardwood frame. And it has this spinny support on the back. Now the support can be set up like this, so you could lean it on a table, which is how I actually put fiber on it. Just like I would with my drum carder, it sits this way, and I add fiber to the top on the table. And then when it comes time to roll them off, I spin this 90 degrees. So I can tighten that up so it's not so loose. Maybe I'm making that worse. I can't remember which way it goes now. Hold on, sorry. I think it goes this way. Yep. I spin it this way so it's between my knees, and I can pull the fiber off with the teeth. You can't see this way, so that it's facing me, and I pull the fiber off it going up. I watched a video from Ashford about how to use theirs. I also watched another woman who I won't name, but who did kind of a poor job showing us what she was doing. I also got a cleaner slash packer downer brush. I'm sure it has a technical name. I don't know what it is. But it's quality construction as well. You can see I've already been using it to clean stuff off. These holes here are for like a handle. So you can grab it and carry it with you. You can move it around, that sort of thing. I want to show you Lori's tag. Hopewood Crafts. Made in Maine, the way crafts should be. Lori Schaefer and Jerry Knight, Lincolnville, Maine. They are at hopewoodcrafts.yahoo.com. That's their email, and hopewoodcraftsshop.etsy.com. It's hopewoodcrafts with an S, shop.etsy.com, plural. They sell their blending boards for $120, which is half the cost of a lot of other blending boards that I've seen. It's a very good price. It's an amazing price, actually. And it comes with this. And it comes with 2 dowels, which I put over here. And the dowels are what you take the fiber off with. And if you watch the same video I did with Ashford, it will show you how to do that. So, I have been making, I don't know what to call them, poonies or Rolags. I don't really want to get into a discussion about what's accurate because I don't think either term is specifically accurate for this. Rolags come from hand cards. Poonies are for cotton. I'm not going to get into a discussion about what the accurate term is. I call them tuber worms because that's what they look like. If you've never seen a tuber worm, look it up. They're pretty rad. Okay, I'm going to set that there so that I can use both my hands. So the first couple, I will admit, were a bit rough. With anything, there's a learning curve, and it's why I don't ever sell the first of a thing that I do. These were leftovers from the Autumn Leaves bat, and I made some poonies out of that. So it's the same brown, dark red, brighter red, orange, and gold. I actually had made more of these, but I spun one up already, and it was pretty fun. I gotta tell you, this stuff works really, really well to become yarn. It just drafts really well. It's a woolen prep because the fibers are being all spun around each other. And I mean, you can draft it before you spin, or you can spin it right from the end. It just works really well. I have not tried these on the wheel, actually. I tried them on the spindle. They're fabulous for spindles. They're so great. I just love them to pieces. So those were my first tuber worms. Then I did some with some sparkle and some alpaca and some other stuff. So then I did this set. You can see there's 3 different shades of pink there. I think you can see there's some sparkle in there. Pretty fun, huh? This one the cat got overnight. I left it on the desk and you can see it's all pulled out. And sometimes there's a little bit of a weaker spot where one fiber changes to another, but that happens. So I am now in the tuber worm business. They are more work than drum carding for sure, and the yields are much lower. I mean, my drum carder does a complete bat, 3.5 ounce bat in one go. The blending board does not do that. You have to load it up with fiber a couple of times, if not more, to get a set. Now this set is one that I've done. This is the first that I did for sale. I think you can see this. It's called Envy, and they start with this dark green, lime green, a middle olivey green, and then back to the dark green. Let's see if I can't show you. Sorry for the crinkling. I really can't show you an entire poonie, can I? Or not poonie. Tuber worm. They look like that. This set is 50 grams. It has merino, nylon, Angelina, and wool nets in it. And you can see not only the sparkle, I think, but you can also see that little green dot right in there. That is a lime green net that you would use to make a tweed yarn. Can you see it? You see him in there? So let me see if I have any more. There's another one there. I'm trying to see that guy right there. No? Sorry. But that is going to be for sale. Again, I don't have prices set up yet. I got to do my formula. This is the second set. This one is called Shabby Chic, and the reason I'm calling it that is because the pink, which is alpaca, does have veggie matter in it. It was a sample that I had dyed up, and I ended up not having spun into yarn because it was quite veggie mattered. I think you can see that some of those spots it's got some veggie matter in it. So it's a bit of a rustic spin. And these will be priced accordingly. Alpaca is more expensive than merino, but it won't be because of the, the fact that you'll have to pick out a little bit of stuff. This one has merino, angelina, and alpaca in it, and this set is 52 grams. So there's some wonderful tuber worms for you if you would like it. I have to thank Lori and Jerry of Hope Wood Crafts because they were incredibly accommodating for me to have the blending board. They ended up giving it to Katie, and I haven't even mailed Lori her check for it yet. I'm going to be doing that today, Lori, if you're watching. But yeah, we're friends. We know each other outside of the internet. They're in Maine, so we do hang out with them every once in a while, and they're great people. And they definitely would appreciate and value your hard-earned dollars, and they stand by their work. So check them out. It is, no, I don't want to get it wrong, hopewoodcraftshop.etsy.com. So, yay! Yay! Are you excited? I'm so excited. I've been blending up a storm lately. So those will all be in the shop in the coming weeks. Okay, I'm at 41 minutes and I'm only through a few sections. Growth and processes, I'm going to skip this week. I am thinking about putting up some fictitious names to show you guys how I import club data and how I print my labels for club shipments each month, because I feel like that's something that I have 50 members in my club, and you really can't do that by hand. So I want to show you how I do that, and maybe we'll figure out maybe that will help you. Maybe it won't. You can skip it if you're not an indie business. Growth, I just want to say that I got some new hang tags, and these hang tags are for bats and tuber worms, whatever you want to call them, ponies, roll legs, whatever. The front side is my logo, and I put the colorway name here, and then on the back it has the list of fibers that I frequently use and a space for notes. And the space for notes is really so that you can, when you spin it, put down how many yards and how many plies or whatever information you want to put on there. So it gives you, I've got information about what type of fibers, and there's space there in case I have to put some, additional fiber on there. I got these from Got Print. They are the same company that does my ball bands, my business cards, my postcards for the club each month. They're a pretty good company. They're a bit of a brat about this one, but generally speaking, I have excellent, excellent results from them, and I would recommend using them. I did design that logo myself on Photoshop, so be kind about the logo. All right. All that leaves is grabby hands. I've already talked about the blending board from Hope Wood Crafts. Excuse me. And I really do appreciate the handmade nature of that blending board. The hardwood, the fact that they included, the packer brush and the dowels. The dowels have points on them. Like, I already talked about that and sort of reviewed it for you. And I hope that you will give them a shout out. Now, I do have in the next couple of weeks several more Grabby Hands episode issues for you. I received some new books from Cooperative Press. They are, actually I have 4 books from Cooperative Press. The first one is A Knitter's Gallery of Mitered Squares, 45 Unique Designs by Jill Bigelow-Suttle and Jane Bigelow. I got Mystic Shawls by Anna Dalvey. I received Bigfoot Knits by Andy Smith, and Knits That Breathe, 12 Breezy Projects to Keep You Cool by Julie Turjoman. I don't really know how to say that. And I will be giving you my standard reviews for those in the coming weeks. I'm hopefully back to a weekly podcasting schedule, so over the next month you'll get 4 book reviews from me with my standard turn the camera around so you can see what I see in the whole 9 yards. Many of you folks have said that you enjoy the thoroughness of my reviews, and I always do put them at the end, so feel free to skip them if you are not in the market for new books or if you've already heard the review from somewhere else. So, I think now that I am very parched, I am going to say goodbye to you for this week. Please check out the shop. It is shop.highlandhandmaids.com. I have a bunch of stuff in there right now for you guys, and more stuff will be added every week. I plan on having the new yarns, the hand spun poonies / roll eggs, bats. I'm trying to clean out my current product list so that I can get stuff ready for Stitches East, which is in October. So there will be kind of an odd mishmash of stuff in the shop, but I think you will enjoy it. So feel free to check that out. You can also check us out on the Ravelry. Highland Handmaids is our group there. You can post finished objects. You can comment on the Endless Rainbow Cow thread. The Endless Rainbow Cow goes until Labor Day, so even if you haven't started, you've got time. If you're a quick knitter, you can work on that. We also have a group on Facebook, and I think the only thing left to do today is to draw the winner of the monster kit. Now, I did a Rafflecopter, so I'm going to do a couple of button clicks, so I hope you don't mind me watching the computer while I get to the Rafflecopter thread and I pick this out. And I will also be checking to make sure that the person who wins did do the thing that made them win. Which means if, for example, the winner won on following somebody on Twitter, they are in fact a follower on Twitter. So I'm going to visit my giveaways entries page. Oh, I got to enter my email address. I don't know what email address I entered. Anybody else do that? Never remember. Oh, no, that's not it. That might be it. Yes. Okay. So I have to pick a winner. Add a random winner. That's me. Because I entered it. I'm not even kidding you. Look at this. I'm going to move the camera so I don't get camera stuck. I included myself in there so that I could make sure that they all worked. And I'm going to disqualify this winner because it's me. So let's pick a random winner again, shall we? Rachel. All right, Rachel. Rachel, you have won the kit. Now, I am... Hold on, I gotta check that camera, make sure I'm still here. Okay. I'm going to email you and let you know. You've got a week. If I don't hear from you by the next podcast, I will draw a different winner. Okay? So, Rachel, congratulations, and the rest of you, I hope, even if you didn't win the monster kit for the Wild Rumpus, I hope you'll at least pick up the pattern. It is available at littleskein.etsy.com, and I hope you'll knit a monster with us. There is an Instagram knit along happening right now. If you hashtag it Wild Rumpus along, you can be entered to win fun prizes. Any Light Knits does random drawings for monster stuff periodically throughout the cal. So I hope you join us. I guess that's all I've got for you this week, guys. Until next week, happy spinning and knitting, and thanks for tuning in.
Crowded by cataracts, not quite perfect yet. We've said our goodbyes 1,000 times. Butterfly wings, thumping softly on the window, paint humming, we're driving sideways, our wrinkles looking past the billboard sign.